New York.
Okay, two, three, four, five.
2. He has an apartment downtown.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3. He is a Number 4. He's working in an Italian restaurant. And number 5. He eats Mexican food.
Mexican food. Excellent. Thank you, Mrs. Angan. I wrote your score, Mrs. Angan.
Thanks, teacher.
That was awesome. We have great students in this class. We have perfect students in this class. Really perfect students in this class. Okay. Where what? Okay. As far as you know, we talked about the grammar simple present. Do you remember simple present? Look at this page. Do you see the whiteboard? Can everyone see the whiteboard on the screen?
Yes, teacher,
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah, you remember this, huh? They smoke cigars. Do they smoke cigars? And this is yes no question. Okay. So we have two kinds of questions for questions. Questions. So they come with like yes no questions. See?
I bet.
Yes. Yeah, we have yes no questions and WH questions. Yes no questions. Yes no questions and WH questions. Okay. Yes no questions are like see, it is the answer. You know, there is this question in yes no question. There is the question, and the answer is yes or no. The answer is yes or no. Okay. But WH questions are not like that. Now, let's check an example here. Mr. I want to choose Taha. Listen, Taha plays the piano every night. Every night. Taha plays the piano every night. Yes. So, if you want to make yes no question, what do we do with yes no questions? How can we make yes no question for this one? Taha plays the piano. Huh? Tell me how to make yes no question. Yes, exactly. Does Taha play the piano every night? And then the period changes to question mark. Yes. So this is es comes to the beginning. Es comes to the beginning. Es Taha, just like that one. Es Taha play the piano. Play the piano every night. Then question mark. Yeah. We cannot say es, so we bring do in the beginning. Hmm? So do es, which is does. Okay, we say do es. This is does. You know, does Taha play the piano every night? Excellent. Thank you very much, Mr. Animoradi and Mr. Zakiri. Now, if you want to make WH questions, you put WH before them. You just have them down here. You have does here. Okay.
Teacher, may I say?
Yes, please. For example, what? What does?
What does Taha play every night?
Exactly. What does what does Taha play Every night. Every night. Exactly. What does Taha play every night? Now, we don't have the piano. We delete the piano. Okay? We delete the piano. We don't have the piano.
Teacher, or we can say
Yes, we
when
can.
does Taha play
Exactly.
piano
Yes, or
and delete the time.
exactly. Or we can say when, let me write that one. Again, we can delete the time. We can delete every night. Okay. We can delete every night. And we can write, as your friend said, when does Taha? See, we say does, when does Taha? I'll write it. When does Taha play the piano? When does Taha, when does Taha play the piano? When does Taha play the piano? And question mark. Okay, we don't have ever. Every night is
Teacher,
the answer. Yes, sir.
um, we can say who and delete the person.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah. I will say it next session. We have time for that. Next session or the other session. But for moment, what and when and where. We can say, for example, where does Taha play the piano? What time does Taha play the piano? How does Taha play the piano? Why does Taha play the piano? And so forth. Okay? That's easy, huh? Isn't it?
Yes, that's easy.
Okay, I'll make a sentence here. You make a question. Um, Amir, Amir, and Ali, Amir and Ali fight over a game every evening, every evening at 6 o'clock. Every evening at 6 o'clock. Now, Amir and Ali fight over a game every evening at 6 o'clock. Now make a yes no question for this. A yes no question for this.
Do Amir and Ali fight over a game
Exactly.
every evening at 6?
Exactly. Do Amir and Ali fight over a game every evening at 6? At 6. Question mark. Finished. Now, make a question so the answer is at 6. Make a question. The answer is at 6.
Okay. What time do Amir and Ali fight over a game
Excellent.
every evening?
Excellent. Make a question so the answer is because they love games.
Because why Amir and Ali
Why do?
fight
Why do? Why do?
over a game?
Again? Why?
Why do Amir and Ali
Yes, why do
fight
Amir and
over
Ali fight over a game? Make a question so the answer is fight.
fight? Uh, what do Amir and Ali over a game
Uh-huh,
every
uh-huh.
evening at
See?
6?
See, check this one. What? We have what? Yes. What? Then
What
after what, we should say do.
do,
What, then which is do. What
do.
do Amir and Ali? What should we write instead of
Amir and Ali
fight? What should we write instead of fight?
over again.
Uh-huh. See, listen carefully. They say, what do Amir and Ali do over a game? What do Amir and Ali do over a game? So we should write do here. What do Amir and Ali do over a game? So the answer is they fight over the game. What do they do? They fight over the game. Okay? What do they do? For example, what does what does your mom do when what does your mom do when your dad gets angry? Huh? What does your mom do? This is the What does your mom do when your dad gets angry?
She gets
Angry too.
um, a glasses
When
a
you're
glasses
uh-huh.
of water
Mm-hmm.
to him.
Oh, good. When my father gets angry, my mother gets angry too. You know? So they fight.
Yes,
That is
yes.
uh okay, another question. Um what does your what does your father do? What does your father do when your mom uh makes cake?
Uh, he's, he said that's interesting and
It's interesting.
uh, he's eating it.
For next session, please make 5 WH questions to ask me. Okay? You will ask me. You will say like teacher.
Oh,
Yeah, you will say teacher. For example, teacher. Um, number one. Uh,
what do you do in the evening?
what do you do in the evening? Yes, in the evening. Whatever. 5 questions. Okay? You will ask me 5 questions next session with the 5 WH questions, please.
Teacher, uh,
Yes?
do you teach a conversation
Ye-
this session?
yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
We will finish the conversation today. Today's 16th. Yeah, okay. So no problems, huh? Very easy. Very, very easy. Piece of cake. That was a piece of cake. If you check page, what page is this page? Page 55. Check page 55, the grammar. See, where do you work? Where does she work? Why does she work? How does she work? What time does she work? Okay, like how often does she work? You can ask any question you want. That could be a WH question. Who works in a bank? She works in a bank. I work in a hotel. They work in a hospital. We never work. Okay, we work twice a day, twice a week, whatever. Very, very easy. 5.1. Where does Sandy live? مثل آریان فر، مثل شاکری، مثل عزیزی، مثل جعفری، مثل استوانه. Who can do that? مثل زنگنه. Go on.
Do I have my voice, teacher?
Yes, مثل زنگنه. I have your voice.
Okay. Where does Sandy live? Where does Sandy teach? Where does Sandy work? Where does Sandy stay? Where does you yesterday? Where does they yesterday? Where does Jason yesterday? Where does Jason play? Where does your friends play? Where does your friends live? Where does your Sandy live?
One question, Mr. Zangan. That was very good. Thank you, Mr. Zangan. But about you, do I say where does you work or where do you work? Do I say what time does you study or what time do you study? Which one?
Hmm, teacher,
Yes?
does you yesterday?
No, do you? You know, does is just for
Do you
he.
yesterday?
Yeah, does is just for
Do you
he and
yesterday?
she and it.
Yes, 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 yes.
Exactly. So it should be number four. Where do you live? For they, where do they live? Where do your friends play? Where do your friends live? Where do your parents
Okay.
Mrs. Angena, where do your parents sleep? Where do your parents sleep? Do they sleep in the bedroom or do they sleep in the living room?
What, teacher? Again?
Where do your parents sleep? Do your parents sleep in the living room
Okay.
or in the bedroom? My parents sleep in the living room. They have bedrooms, but they don't sleep in the bedroom. They love living. Thank you, Mr. Zangana. That was good.
Thank you, teacher.
Uh, thank you, Mr. 5.2, Mr. Aryanfar, Seper Shamsuddin, Ruhullah. I'm
Yes,
listening.
teacher.
Do that, Parsa. Aryan.
Okay. The children play in the yard. Where do the children play? Sally teaches at a high school. Where does Sally teach?
Mm-hmm.
Peter works in an office. Where does Peter work? I do my homework in my bedroom. Where do you where do you do your homework?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Sarah cook food in the kitchen. Where does Sarah cook? mm, cook? Uh, the Parkers live in the suburbs. Where do the Parkers live? We walk in the park. Uh, where do we walk?
Where do you or where do we? Thank you, Mr. Aryan Far. Thank you. That was good. That was okay. Uh, thank you. That was good. 5.3 will be Mr. Azizi, Mama Reza, Amir Mahdi Khodadadi, Taha, Said Sina, Mama Reza. 5.3. No one? Okay, I'll do that. Tom is a waiter. What does he do? What does Tom do? My parents are doctors. What do your parents do? What do they do? It means we're talking about the job. Number 3. Kate is a dentist. What does Kate do? Her uncles are clerks. Her uncles are clerks. What do her uncles do? Mrs. Hilton is a physics teacher. What does she do? What does she do? My sister and I are hairdressers. What do we do? And the last one, his father is a mechanic. What does his father do? Finished. 5.4, picture one. Two students. We need two students. We need two students for 5.4, please.
Teacher me.
Yes. Uh, okay, you ask me number one.
Okay, number one. What does Mr. Smith do?
Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Smith is a doctor.
Where does she work?
She works in a hospital. She works in a hospital. Number two, I will ask you number two. What does Mr. Julie do?
Mm,
He's an he he's an engineer.
oh, yes,
Yes.
engineer.
Okay. Where does he work?
In the factory.
In a factory. Yes, he works in a factory. Number three, you ask me.
Okay. What does Mr. Roberts do?
Pause, audio. Change your color. Pause, okay. What does Mr. What? Mr. Roberts. Mr. Roberts is a what's that? Is a salesman, I think.
Where does he work?
He works in a boutique or maybe a department store. Maybe he's a cashier. No, he's a salesman. I don't know. Salesman or cashier, one of them. Number four. What does Mrs. Brown do? She's a
Mm,
what is she?
I don't know what is that.
She's a she's a she's a maybe lawyer? Maybe a lawyer?
Officer.
Maybe an no, not officer. She maybe a lawyer. She's a lawyer. Maybe clerk. Yeah, she's a clerk. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, she's a clerk. Mhm. Where does she work?
She works in office.
In an office. Number Mr. Jackson. Number five.
Okay. What does Mr. Jackson do?
He's a cook. He's a chef.
Where does he work?
He works in a restaurant or a hotel. I don't see very well. It seems like a restaurant or a hotel. Maybe a restaurant in a hotel. Maybe because the doors are like hotel doors. And the last one, what does Mrs. Johnson do?
She's a teacher.
And where does she work?
She works